Hello, and you're back again with the Arty Mummy. I'm Kathy, and we're doing Lorna Scobie's 365 Days of Art, and today is day 18, and we have a very simple prompt, which is colour the fish. Now this could be really lots of fun and relaxing and just a nice little exercise to do. We could practice a little bit of blending or just see how colours are looking next to each other, but I think we might be having some colourful rainbowy fun today. So I have these dual brush pens that I showed you when I was doing the calligraphy for day 16, and I haven't really given them a proper go yet, so I think I might do today because they look really bright and easy, and I could probably use some of that today. So let's get straight to it. How about we start rainbowy? Okay, so at this stage I am not loving the brush pens, mostly because there's not, like, I've got a really limited palette here, only 5 colours, but I might just try. Now, there was a little sort of bit of paper with it that said they can be used very much like a watercolour, in that if you put some of the ink down in a palette and then dip another colour brush into it, which worries me because I'm worried about muddying my lighter colour, but it says it'll run out and create a blend naturally. So let's give that a try. Alright, actually I want to do this on a scrap of paper. So I've only got 4 fish there to work with. So I've put the yellow into some blue. That's kind of interesting. Let's try it again. Okay. So let's have a go at that on this fishy here. Okay, so I'm going to pop a little bit more blue into my little palette here. So I've just dipped the tip of the pen in a little drop of water and rubbed the tip of the colour into that. Tiny bit of water. And now, the same as you would load up a brush, it's getting that colour onto the tip of the yellow. We'll do it with this one. And that does look a little bit muddy. We'll see how we go. Oh, it's probably because I've got the purple instead of the blue. So I'll do the other half of this nose with that. Get all that colour out. And grab the blue. Okay, let's try a slightly different technique. I'm going to a little line, so we're just experimenting here. And then I've just dipped that brush tip into a tiny bit of water. See if I can make that blend. Not really. I mean, it does turn green, but it's a kind of a muddy green. Let's try with the red. Stick with the yellow again. I wonder how this is affecting the other side. It's coming through a little bit, not too much. Where's that red gone? Just same again, loading up the tip of the yellow with a little bit of red. And it seems that I've now just watered down my yellow and made it muddy. Alright, so that answers that question. Doesn't work so well at all. And same goes with my red. It's made it muddy, and going over the same spot, wet on wet, is causing my paper to peel, I suppose you could say. That is not a good result. Not loving those. Sorry, Tombow. Probably could do some, nice stuff if you had a good selection of colours and you just wanted to have clean colours side by side. Beautiful. Really, really bright, vibrant textures, really. Pens, markers. Those just have a brush-like tip, but it's still very firm compared to most paint brushes. Alright, so let's see if we can do something with this with the watercolours. Again, I'm using fairly minimal water with my watercolours, just so I don't get it bleeding through to the other side of the page. Okay, so I'm editing now, and in defence of those markers, I did end up using them in the end to define edges and add extra detail, and they work beautifully over dry watercolour and seamlessly. Just love them for that. But as far as painting with them, not so sure on that one. It could have turned out worse. I'm fairly happy with that, considering all that happened to it. It's all a learning curve. Okay, so for this guy here, I'm going to try doing him in gradients of one colour. And I do love my hot pink. I've got a bit of a thing for that at the moment. So I started off trying to paint the individual scales here with little gradients, but that didn't work very well. So I ended up changing my tactic and just going to create a gradient of pink over the entire fish and then work on top of that in layers. Okay, there's that little bit of a problem of the paper just soaking the paint up, so it's not as blendable as you would like. Probably should be using a larger brush to get colour all over. That's okay, we can probably work with that actually. I'll give him a a bit of a shimmery look anyway. So we're going to go pink all over. It's a pink fish. But then I'm going to try and have some different gradients in him that are more purposeful than this. Okay, so I'm going to go for a slightly different pink. I'm going to add a bit of little bit of blue to it. So it goes purpley. Oh yes, that's a pretty colour. Alright, so because I'm going wet into wet with it, it should bleed into the previous colour. I say should, because I say with this paper it's definitely not as good as watercolour paper per se, but it's still kind of doing it. It's not bad because we're getting these nice nice bit of fishy-like gradient happening not only within the scales but within the entire fish. And working fairly quickly with this so that I don't end up with wet on dry by the end of it, by the time I get to the top part of the fish. I should say the head end. Keep that darker bit happening at the back still. Let it go lighter towards the belly and darker on top. Sweep across there. Now again, with this book you really don't want to overwork it because as we saw earlier, the paper's going to peel really easily. So I guess another thing I'm learning from this book is to be precise about what I want to do. So when I do move to good watercolour paper, I should find it very easy, I hope, to get these things to work, because I've had to work quite hard at getting them to work on this paper that just kind of sucks the colour in and doesn't let it go again. So I'm kind of not minding that aspect of it. And for these parts I think I'll just alternate between pink and purple. So I've got the purple on my brush already, so I'm just going to go with that. So it's probably not as bright and pretty as the others, but you know, it's been nice practice with blending and mixing. I think I might try and leave a little shine on the eye for this guy. There we go. Really, Mr. Man? I'm very noisy. And I'm just going to keep playing with this a little bit. Now, like I said with the curly whirly bits yesterday, this is another really great just practice for control of your brush to get that nice, even, consistent arch following the line that you want it to follow. That's the thing with watercolours, you get the best results when you build layer on layer on layer, rather than just sort of trying to put it all down at once. It was a bit dull before, but now he's really starting to come together and look like a fish. And arches and curves are something that a lot of people struggle with too, so it is really good practice. My hand is far from exceedingly steady.
Can help us.
So I think I'm going to let that dry and come back to him. So what should we do with this fellow here? Maybe try something a little bit similar in the blues and greens, I think. And again, great practice for like arches and consistent line. If you can get it to go in one stroke, that's ideal. Drag that colour across. And I'm just going to insert a quick little tip here. If you want to get your get single colour blends like I'm doing here with a single stroke, just make sure that your brush is nice and damp and load the tip up really well with plenty of pigment, plenty of colour. And as you lay the brush on the side, the more watered down paint will be at the sort of more at the back of the brush, and the more concentrated paint will be at the tip, and it basically will do it for you. And once again, here I am loving the transparency and ability to layer for depth with the watercolours. I really love that about them. Wet on wet, wet on dry, doesn't matter. You get the different effects and they all look lovely when you put them on top of each other. You can really see through them, really get the vibrancy of the colours and have them show through. I'm sorry, I'm not very good at expressing myself, but hopefully over time I will get better at that for you. But yeah, really love that aspect of watercolour painting, even on this paper. It still works beautifully. And so we're coming up to the end of this video, and as always, this is where I say, if you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe and notification bells. I really love having you with me, and I hope you get something out of these videos as well. I know I'm learning a lot on the way. And yeah, also let me know which one you like best. I'm going to toss up between my pink fish and my green fish. I really love the blending in the green fish and how it's quite dimensional, and I really enjoyed painting the pink fish. It was that kind of thing that I'm into, where it's just sort of for relaxation. I suppose it's why adult colouring books are so popular, where you're doing sort of repetitive and not having to think too much kind of stuff. But yeah, I really enjoyed doing that one. So like I said, let me know which one you liked or what you did or didn't like about the video. I'm always trying to get better at this for you guys. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye for now.